Grateful that you stayed on with us. This is Breakfast Daily here on ChannelOne television. We're about to get into the details of the various headlines that we've seen. Topical, of course, the big story is the abolition or the repeal of the electronic transfer levy, the E-Levy, the emissions tax, the betting tax, and of course, a number of tax bills that were presented to the president, who in turn assented to same. We'll be looking at the impact thereof following the government's plans to generate revenue internally, and of course, how it will impact or affect our revenue mobilization as a country. I have my first guest seated here with me. He's a former regional minister for the Eastern region under the NPP government. The Honorable Seth Champon is here. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my brother.
It's good to have you.
I know, right?
I'm sure we share a lot more in common than you know. I'm actually a Betum boy.
Oh, wow.
Straight from Ohima Park.
Oh, wow.
So it's good. It's really good to have you.
No, it's good to have you here.
It's really good to have you
as well.
Well, the president yesterday was busy appending his signature to a number of bills following the passage of same in Parliament. It's heavy on almost all the front pages of all the dailies this morning. I'll take a look at what the graphic says. Daily graphic says, E-Levy, betting, emission taxes scrapped. President assents to bills. Story reads, President John Dramani Mahama has assented to a set of amended bills of Parliament, effectively abolishing the electronic transfer levy, E-Levy, the betting tax, the emissions tax, among other related bills. The affected laws, and it goes ahead to list a number of them, including the E-Levy Repeal Bill 2025, Emissions Levy Repeal Bill 2025, Income Tax Amendment Bill 2025, earmark funds capping and realignment, and a host of others that were presented to the president. This was one of the promises made by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama during the campaign. It was re-echoed by his finance minister during his vetting, and same was presented to Parliament. Today, it's been scrapped, and I want to find out from you, your government introduced this E-Levy. I'm sure you had your own plans on how it was going to help with our revenue mobilization efforts. If you look at where our economy is now, is this the way to go?
Good morning once again.
Good morning.
I believe that we introduced taxes in our quest as an administration to help with our vision that we campaign and come into office with. As part of the analysis that was presented to the administration at the time, it looked positive, but we are all aware of the birth of the particular policy when it was introduced at the time by the administration. It was met with stiff opposition. It had to stay in Parliament for a longer period than expected. And so the issues surrounding its birth and then subsequently, even when it had been passed, was so polarized. So for some of us, it wasn't surprising that it really did not perform or, bring out what the proposal had sought to do or what we were hoping to achieve with it. That aside, down the line, we came, because we are, animals of history, we came to realize that it is something that may not suffice. So I'm happy that this has been repealed by the current administration, because we're not in campaign mode now. But my candidate at the time also said same, that it is one of the things he would repeal. And so I find it quite welcoming. We're hoping that the current administration will be able to also do something creative to get as good the things we want as a people. So for me, E-Levy is gone. We don't need it as a country. Democracy is for all of us. And once we are introducing something and people are not happy about it, they're not happy about it. So it's gone. But the good thing for me is that we as a people are now free from any taxations which are going to come from these electronic devices, be it as trading on or working with our devices. So it's good news to me.
Good news to you. Larry Dogbe has joined us, editor of the Herald newspaper. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning.
I hit you straight away with it. E-Levy gone,
Yeah.
emissions tax gone, betting tax gone. We've seen all the controversy surrounding E-Levy. And then, of course, when the betting tax was mentioned in the budget, we saw the outcome of it. The president has assented to the bills, and so they are no more. Your first impression, and then we'll look at the impacts on an economy that is on its way to recovery.
I told you, tell viewers that we also have something in common.
Yeah. That I think is obvious enough. They can see.
Is it? Good news. I think good news it is.
Yeah.
As Honorable said, it's E-Levy and then the emission taxes and all those others were part of the campaign, messages. Indeed, the Vice President then promised to abolish it. Earlier, he had been against it. I recall about a week or so, or months before the passage, he had been on Peace FM.
Yeah.
And in an interview with Sefakai, he said that, he doesn't think that was proper. Particularly knowing the people who kind of use that facility more and more, and that with his commitment to this mobile money, he felt that this was going to burden the average Ghanaian, and it wasn't proper. I recalled also paying some fees with a certain university outside, and they were charging E-Levy on that. So imagine you want to access certain courses outside, and you are having to pay money. Yeah. Okay. So everybody was really affected by this. Yeah. And so it worked for the NDC to push, that agenda. And having won, they've quickly moved in to ensure that it's been abolished. It's good. But people are asking what will come in to replace it. And obviously, something will be done, which is that they will have to relocate the bedding somewhere, or the shortfall will have to come from somewhere.
Already we are getting some indications. Remember, the Interior Minister has mentioned or suggested a proposed 1 pesewa on every liter of fuel bought to augment the Ghana Fire Service.
Okay.
We've heard local government minister also propose not a reintroduction, but a sanitation levy of a sort. Yeah. So these are two proposed taxes. We don't know whether it will see the light of day or not.
Sure, but that's not to say that the E-Levy has been collected then, was going into the service, was going to fire service and all the others. So, E-Levy could have been there, and then these other, demands placed on us, as it were. But I think that going forward, we should think of a better way of mobilizing taxes, okay? I've heard many times people say that there are too many loopholes. People are avoiding taxes and all manner of things. So that we need to widen the tax net to make sure that we get more revenue. Maybe that's what we should be doing.
Perhaps.
Perhaps, and not this this approach that goes to burden people. Right. I recall also. What you call him, Ken Oforiatta, talking about, he was sure that we're going to make about 3 billion or 6 billion thereabout out of every month or every year out of that tax. Yeah. But by the end of shortly after the passage, we didn't see that.
Yeah, I'll give you some details. Yesterday, the head of E-Levy at the GRA was here on ChannelOne newsroom. He spoke with Vivian Kai Loco, and he gave us a breakdown. So in total revenue, 4.3 billion Ghana cedis from the implementation of E-Levy. And then if we give a yearly breakdown, in 2022, 645 million. 2023, 1.1 billion. and in 2024, approximately 2 billion.
Okay.
So these are the figures over the years since the implementation of the E-Levy. 4.3 billion in total revenue. And then the yearly breakdown is 645 million in 2022, 1.1 billion 2023, and approximately 2 billion in 2024.
Okay.
So now the question is, was the intended target achieved?
Obviously we didn't, because if Ken Ofori-Atta mentioned 6 billion and we are doing this, I mean, how many years since the passage?
It's been this is the 4th year.
Yes, and we couldn't do the 6 billion that he mentioned annually. It means that it's not serving the kind of purpose.
Indeed. Indeed.
So
right. The Honorable Neelante van der Poy has also joined us in studio, former Member of Parliament for Dudu constituency. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, brother.
I hope you're well.
I'm blessed.
Great. It's good to have you. You're looking very colorful this morning.
Really?
Former minister.
Yes, former minister, local government. Yes,
he has a lot of nicknames.
And he wears a lot of caps.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir, and thank you so much for joining us. We're actually on the scrapping of the E-Levy, the betting, the emission taxes, and all. The man made a promise and has kept his word. But let's look at the general impact of E-Levy. First, its implementation and whether or not it was beneficial to us as a people. And now that it's been scrapped, what are the economic impacts thereof?
Well, first, let me say good morning to my brothers, my junior brothers. Especially,
it's important to qualify.
No, there's a reason. So.
Okay. It's a parliamentary language.
No, he's
and
my
also
senior
to
brother.
all our viewers, it's good to be here. Let me first take opportunity to commend you guys for the wonderful job you did over the weekend.
Thank you.
With the Back to Your Village
food festival.
It was good. Just that I think that you people did not have the police do their work well. So created a little bit of transportation problems in the city, within the area, within the confines of the venue. We had a little bit of transport. So maybe look at it next time.
Well noted.
Yeah. First, let me say this. Normally, every tax regime aimed at raising government revenue is appreciated, provided it does not bring consequences to the living standards of the people. Taxes are supposed to encourage people to pay part of their earnings to be able to help in the development of the country. But sometimes you also have to look at the impact on social life, the impact on the economic life of the ordinary Ghanaian. That's why people have advocated, or philosophers on taxes have advocated, that in exercising any tax regime, you must look at equitability. You must look at how these taxes will not impact negatively on the people who are going to pay. Because taxes genuinely should be that which will make people pay without any repulsion. People pay without any reluctance. People pay with joy. So in certain jurisdictions, people are happy to even chase the tax collectors to pay their taxes. But when taxes become inimical to the development and the social welfare of people, it becomes very discouraging and people will not want to pay. These taxes are taxes that the two political parties, even before the elections, all agreed, especially the E-Levy, all agreed that it was not serving its purpose, and so we'll scrap it. In fact, when John Mahama talked about scrapping it, a lot of people said he can't. There's no way he could do that because of the IMF program and all others. But as pragmatic as he is, together with his Minister of Finance, they found innovative ways of plugging the hole, which will be created by the scrapping of these taxes. Well, what was the E-Levy intended to do? Its main purpose was to raise revenue. Did it raise the required revenue? In the first year, it was poorly done, and I said it didn't raise anything.
Yeah.
It didn't even achieve 50% of what was anticipated. In the second year, it's not been able to achieve as much as it, but it has an improvement over the first year. So if these taxes and whatever revenue it will generate could be secured from another means without necessarily burdening Ghanaians, because these taxes right from its introduction were criticized because especially the E-Levy was said that it was going to affect the poorer more than the rich. Because I remember the former vice president sitting in a television studio and saying that it is the poor people who pay electronic taxes. And I said there's no need for them to be taxed, because when we continue with those taxes, we maintain the poverty cycle. But then he was the same person who led agitation for the introduction of that tax. And that day, I remember when we had the problem in Parliament, you know, the E-Levy was one of the problems we had in our time as MPs. It even led to some fisticuffs. It led to certain things that people thought were reprehensible as far as the legislature was concerned. But people forced to push it. You remember all this story about Ajasafo and all those. So the government did everything possible, including the most unexpected issue of having the speaker even voting. You understand? So deliberately, the government knew the resentment from the legislature, from the ordinary Ghanaians, from especially people who are finding jobs as agents of money transfer. They all criticized it. The Association of Ghana Industries, I remember, also raised their voices against it because they thought that it will further make their businesses not fluid, because some of them want to transact business online, you know. So they all criticized it, but the government was adamant, because at that time the government was desperate to raise revenue. So today I'm happy that John Mahama did not only make a promise, but he has fulfilled his promise. And I've scanned social media and I've seen the joy of many Ghanaians. It tells you that many people were suffering. From my background, I'm surprised about the level of joy in young boys and girls who do this sporting bet. You understand? I'm from my spirituality, I wouldn't want to encourage somebody to go into betting. I don't do those things though. But then people have found joy in that. Not that they are lazy. I know people who work, earn salary, but they also do the sports betting. I remember when I was a kid, we used to have a form of sports betting that was run by the National Lotteries Authority. It was on the Premier League. And I was always fascinated about picking it and say, Man U win, Man City draw. You understand? Yeah. I think this time it's been escalated to even goals and yellow cards and other things. I don't know what it entails, because I don't want to get involved. But then, it's like you introduces something in order to kill the avenue of joy, of feeling, happiness of a group of people. And the scrapping of that task has become almost like a relief to these thousands and possibly millions of Ghanaian youth.
We were told it was never implemented.
How? The government itself said they raised so much money. The former government said they raised so much money from that.
There was some confusion that it looked more like semantics regarding lottery taxes and betting taxes.
The Minister for Finance made a mistake by saying they never introduced it at the press conference. The following day, the ranking member on the Finance Committee of Parliament, Honorable Patrick Bama, came out and said the Minister of Finance made a mistake. It was introduced. He even mentioned the figure that was raised, I think about 50-something million within the first 6 months of his introduction. So this issue
was
of
it a mistake or it was a lie?
parliamentary protocols will not allow me to call him a liar.
But you are not in parliament.
Well, it's a colleague member of parliament.
So there's parliamentary language.
I would say he made a mistake, which was factually inaccurate. So I think later on he himself tried to polish it up. Yeah. So the issue is that whether we like it or not, these taxes were taxes that Ghanaians as a whole have accepted that were not good enough. So as a member of government, I will be happy to say that measures that my colleague, the Minister of Finance, Honorable Atuforsen, has prescribed to be able to plug the holes that have been created as a result of this scrapping will be efficient, will be effective, so that we will be able to go through this without having any serious impact on our revenue generation. I've heard some critics saying that in these days when we are under the IMF program and we needed to rather find more genuine ways of raising taxes, this is not a time for you to be scrapping taxes. But certain taxes, when they become inimical to the development of the people, needed to be scrapped instead of sustained and maintained. And then you look at other sustainable means of generating taxes that will not directly affect the livelihood of the ordinary marginalized people. So that is what I'll be looking forward to. Atu has made promises. He has already shown areas where we'll draw those taxes. And I think that with all of us, our support, he should be able to make so that the Ghanaians who have had some relief after going through this scorching economic policies of the previous government will continue to live in some sort of, let me say, happiness. Gama will say,
Right. Honorable Champo, let me come back to you on this. At the time it was being passed, it was preached to us that the E-Levy had that economic magic wand to turn things. It even led to the scrapping or the repeal of the rotos. Yes, and we're told then that if we pass the E-Levy and begin its implementation, there wouldn't be a need for us to go to the IMF. We still went to the IMF despite implementation. We cancelled the rotos and implemented E-Levy. Did we see that recovery that we were hoping to see from the impact or the implementation of the E-Levy? And based on, I mean, the analysis thereafter, are we eating a humble pie?
No. You have to appreciate life. They say every Pasco is cheap. Don't we say that? It's a very easy balance we use in this country. I started my narrative that the birth of E-Levy met a lot of opposition. Mind you, 4 years back.
Could we have listened?
No, just a second. 4 years back, we had just had a very heated election between the former president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the current president, John Dramani Mahama. And our legislative house was split in the middle. So you could see how heavy politics were and was at the time in the space. So immediately the idea was mooted. And like my colleagues on this panel have already established, you can only develop as an administration by ensuring that you've mobilized enough revenue. Other than that, you have to go cap in hand and be begging for money to be able to develop and also push your agenda on the table. So, rightly so, the politicization, I used some words, I said it was so polarized. The community has also, you see, perception holds a lot of influence on our ways of doing things. Some experts who are respected in this country started speaking to it not being scrapped. And I sat back and I laughed. I said, they are not political animals like myself. With the kind of suffering my party went through, I will never support E-Levy and its introduction. If we are supposed to lose it, let it go. Let us all go and sit back and rethink and see how best we can do things. So for me, no humble pie was to be eating afterwards. It was something that our competitors, and when I mean my competitors, my brother here, never wanted us to succeed with it. And in politics, if somebody do not want you to succeed, whatever they will do to make you look bad, look, they will make you look bad.
But was the thing itself bad?
You know why? If you do mathematics and you are told that if you add this bottle of water to this, you will get a pool, and you are looking for a pool, you go for it. Once the experts come and do a presentation and a projection to you as to where we are going, mind you, we had come into administration and we were doing a transformation. And what transformation were we doing? We were trying to ensure that technology was part and parcel of our growth. And we thought that we had established enough pegs around for everybody to come around the table for us to deploy technology.
But Honorable, you see, the one leading that digitalization drive was against the E-Levy.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily at the time. You see, when you sit, he's been a cabinet minister before. When you sit as a team and a presentation is being made to you, it's not everybody around the table who is happy about it. But we are running a system which calls the democracy that we run. The majority will have their way. Minority would have a say. If at a time a presentation is offered and the presentation looks so beautiful and so nice that when we walk this path, we're achieving a set of results, hey, who will stop it? We want it. And so sometimes governance is a gamble. When it goes right, you go and pat your back and say, I did so well, I did so well, I did so well. So for me, it's not a matter of eating humble pie. No way. We attempted to make sure that we broaden the tax net. And like, mind you, I mean, as if I'm telling a lie, all of us here have tablets in front of us. So anybody doing a presentation, you'll say, look, everybody holding a tablet. It's something that is useful. And you see, taking taxes is not cheap anywhere on earth. Every country, when people are paying taxes, people cry. Nobody enjoys paying taxes. But so they try and find some ways that they will be able to bring everybody to the pool. Look, in times past, we've been battling on pump pricing of fuel. But everybody goes by a vehicle to commute from one point to the other. And so that's a way of making sure that you take it from people. Setting tables and sitting there asking people to come and give their monies to you, it's not easy like that. I won't deny it.
So does this suggest to me that we took the easy way out? Because you see, there are other forms of taxes that we have more or less turned a blind eye, like the property tax. We could have gone all out with that to raise the revenue that we need.
That's a beautiful conversation, but the property tax conversation didn't start today. I'm praying and hoping that some administration will be able to implement it because our people are not ready to pay property tax. We will sit here and narrate and give a good narrative about, go for the property tax and see how you get down the ground and enforce it. Enforcement is not easy with property tax. I will not deny it. Me as a local government person. There's the easy way of running a rhetoric on a subject. But in enforcing it, it is not that cheap.
It's not that
I will not sit here and run my mouth about it. But like I said, it wasn't the easy way around it. It was, for us at the time, it was a very smart way of making sure you were taking. Let me tell you, maybe sometimes we forget so easily. When the communication service tax was being introduced under President Kufuor, we met such heavy opposition at the time. And look, at the time, everybody was getting into the communication space. Today, besides voice communication, we have data communication. And not just data communication. We're moving on into deeper data communication. I sit here today and I can just access my bank accounts on a tablet. So we are growing as an economy. That is why when people come to you and they convince you that I think we should be focusing in this area as well, because we are growing in that direction. There could be some positivity emanating from that area. So it is nothing wrong at all. But the good thing is that after implementing a law, which we made for ourselves, when we realize that it's not beneficial to us, nothing stops us from doing away with the law. That's why I said that it's good news to me, because after what you just read to us, the statistics that the head of E-Levy at GRA gave us, projection was that annually we were going to bring into the kitty some 6 billion. Now in total for the 3 years that we will bid some 4.3 billion. Way off target. So it tells you that empirical analysis will tell you this is not right. So you go away with it. I wouldn't want to be here and be beating the drums and saying that because of one opposition, 3 opposition, 4, it really did not work. It did not work.
Like you're sharing the sentiments of the common Ghanaian.
Yes, I do. I think that we didn't think through this whole thing very well. It was a unilateral decision by Ken Ofori-Atta. I mean, I'm sure if Honorable wants to be, I don't want to use a certain word, he will tell us that not just the head of or the man who led the digitalization process, but the head of the economic management team. Meetings were called, people didn't show up. But for the vice president then to go sit on radio and say that, you know something, I am against it. That, it's big. Okay? But nobody listened. It was just Ken Ofori-Atta doing his own thing. I mean, arguments were made at the time that certain countries had tried this same process and it didn't work. And after a while, they went and withdrew. Cote d'Ivoire was one, Benin, Uganda, Malawi, and some other countries as well. I mean, those arguments were made. Nobody listened. I recall some of us, he told the whole country, and then at the point he was saying that
town hall meetings.
They did town hall meetings and so on, saying the money is here, we're not going to go to IMF for any bailout and so on, and made projections, and we are back.
Perhaps the conditions at the time.
No, but you see, you were imposing taxes on people, and if those people kept complaining that listen to us, something has been done elsewhere. In most of those jurisdictions, even the amount being paid, we have 0.5. I mean, very negligible. And here we were, the man was pushing 1.5. The debate went on and on and on and on, like Honorable Van der Poel said. I mean, it resulted into fights or fiscals, in Parliament and so on. A certain woman was brought into Parliament, saying that was Adwoa Safo. Adwoa Safo.
To date, we've not been able to establish
that. She has also come out to say that
she didn't vote for the E-Levy.
Okay, but was she the one?
But she did not say whether she was the one sitting there or not. So we do not.
You were in Parliament that day.
I've listened to her in recent times. She's admitted that it was her. She had just come out of labor. She had just delivered. So she had, when women give birth, they go through some biochemical changes.
Okay.
I can bet my last penny. That was not
I don't want us to go to that.
No, let's go there.
The most important thing. This is so trivial. So let's not go there. You know why? The reason
for someone to have impersonated in Parliament, the Chamber of Parliament,
no.
If indeed that is established, you see, for a stranger, in fact, the person who impersonated has just got out of Parliament. We know.
Let me say.
But we want parliamentary investigation to be concluded.
Exactly.
We don't want to. But some of us, physically, to prove a point, went straight to the person and confronted the person.
Wow.
So we know.
On that day.
You see, I wasn't a member of the 8th Parliament.
Right.
So when he speaks, I can't
but
speak
you know
to
Adwoa very well.
Let's move on.
I have listened to Adwoa.
Even you had cloned Adwoa, that would
I have listened to Adwoa. She has affirmed that that was her. And when I heard her speak,
let's leave it there.
I calmed down.
Let me just make a point here. Adwoa said, if that was her, she said she didn't vote for the E-Levy because she was against it. It was against a church principle. So how did you get the vote you got? If that person did not vote?
No,
Let's not go there. Let's leave this conversation for another day.
When a three-line whip is not issued, I have my right. I can choose not to vote for.
There was a three-line whip.
And mind you, at the time the vote was going on, had just left the seat as the deputy leader. And you know how we respect our protocols in Parliament.
Enough.
So you can't just push it into a corner.
So I mean,
wrap up on the
for
E-Levy
me,
for me.
you want us to move away from Adwa Safo, but
that is not.
I don't think Adwa Safo is the subject.
No, it's not. But E-Levy is.
E-Levy
So E-Levy is, and it had some connection, some connection to Adwa.
No.
I recall that. I mean, Adwa's coming at the time also had to do with Kennedy Ejapong also coming.
Yeah.
And reports came out that he and Adwa or chartered planes were made available for the two of them.
And paid $200,000.
Let me tell you
something.
money. I'm so sorry here. Let me say this thing. He knows and I know. When a government is going for a government vote, irrespective of the mandatory assignment you've been planted on you to leave Ghana, your whip will call you that we need you in the chamber. Because it is the government that sent you, and you are there on a mandatory travel on behalf of the government. But the government needs this business done. Wherever you are, you'll bring you home. And so for me, those things are not news. You shouldn't be saying,
I don't have any problem with that. I don't have any problem with people being whipped. It has happened to me before, so I don't have any problem with that. But I'm saying that nobody will charter a plane for you to come. You have to get the next available flight, pay extra ticket to come.
I don't think anybody chartered.
But that's what Kennedy Ejapong said.
That's what Kennedy
Let's move on. You see, Larry, this thing you're doing, you're changing the subject. Let's deal with the
substance. But we just want to appreciate the industry that went into its
passage.
Okay? And the fact that here we are, because we didn't listen to ourselves back then, we are here discussing the fact that it's been repealed. Okay? To the benefits of everybody. To the benefits of, let's say, my grandmother or your grandmother somewhere in Asing, whom would want to receive money from you, or who would want to withdraw money. At the point in time, we were confused as to whether you, the recipient, you are the one paying, or the sender.
Or whether or not you be a service tax on the one providing the service.
You get it. At the point in time, we were told that beyond the beyond, you won't pay. You start.
From is it 300 or 400?
Yes, it was above 100 cedis.
Yes, above 100 Ghana cedis. And there are reports that people even had to stop using mobile money.
Yeah, the transactions went down.
You get it, and it went down like you said.
But if you remember, Citi did a program that said people who were even sending money below 100 cedis were even being taxed.
Yes, exactly. So the confusion, I mean, the way this whole thing worked, if today is being repealed, well, promises kept. We just hope that we will see more and more of such.
I'll give you a final bite.
I want to draw the morality in this whole drama. My bite on it is the fact that politicians must be principled. I'm being frank with you. The former government, especially the hierarchy, did not exercise any sense of responsibility when it comes to issue of being principled in this.
But that's the kind of politics we do in this part.
But that is where we're coming to. Today, you have a politician who said, I will scrap it, and he has scrapped it. He didn't even say I will scrap it, he said within 100 days, and he's done that. I hope that will be the level we all will ascend to when it comes to political discourse.
But then do we...
keeping our word.
Yes, in honoring our promises, campaign or political promises, to the detriment of the economy?
You see, the person wouldn't say, I will scrap it, if the person had not already diagnosed the situation and found out remedies to be able to resolve. I sit here, I have areas where ATO has analyzed to be able to derive revenue to plug the gaps that have been created.
That means that to service. Infrastructure deficits.
No, but you can't also always think about those things at the peril of your citizens. You understand? At the end of it all, the socioeconomic welfare of the ordinary Ghanaian should be paramount. Because that thing you are introducing is supposed to ginger the economy and help them. But if that thing will further aggravate and escalate their situation, it makes it very difficult. And that was why I thought that Bawumia then as a vice president, if I were him, I would have resigned. Because to me, if my belief was that that particular tax was not right, it's not good, and was not opportune at the time, and he said it should never be implemented. That was his words, never be implemented. And then as the chairman of the economic management team, your Minister of Finance should go against your wish and direction and implement it. It means that I'm not respected. You understand me? I'm saying this because two of us are politicians. Sometimes our posture so that vindicates the perception people have about it, that politicians are only a trough war. And maybe we are not quality. Because of the way, and the funny thing is that you don't believe in it.
Yeah.
After it's been introduced, somebody organizes a birthday, and E-Levy was used as a cake, and you were there. You understand? You were there. So,
but I'm not sure it will be written on the invitation that there will be an E-Levy cake.
No. You see, so when I got there and I saw that it was a E-Levy cake, I walked out.
You were there.
No, I'm saying,
yeah.
If I were
on
him,
principle,
on principle.
Sometimes it's good to mention names because people might have forgotten that particular,
Larry, why do you do this?
No, for me, why we are journalists, we need to be honorable. Set, am I lying?
It's convenient for him.
You need to refresh.
No, it's convenient for me because I like painting pictures.
I have known you for some time. Me and you have had a situation where you did not agree to something. You told me you walked out. Am I lying? I don't want to go into details.
No, but that is the point. If I don't agree to a subject, I'll walk away.
Yes.
But okay,
it gets to a level where I thought that, you see, the vice president will have given himself some credit at the time if he has said that, look, I am totally against this. My government has not listened to me as the head of economic management team. The Minister of Finance has shown some disrespect to me and still want to go ahead with this tax. So I'm buying out. Nothing. No one can hold a gun to your head and say stay in office. Yeah. Two, even when you were if you were against it, you went to a party, somebody's birthday party, and the cake was E-Levy. And you stood there and cut the cake. So where are your principles? You understand? So that's what I'm saying. That is a morale that I'm taking from this. And as politicians, those are some of the things that we need to look at critically. Because you see, and then 2 years down the line, in a political campaign, in a political convenience, because you won't vote, you say, when you vote for me, I will cancel it.
No, but then again, on issues or matters of principle, he said from day one that he's against it. Yes. So now that he has an opportunity to lead, it's only fair that he sticks to it. Consistency.
In so many jurisdictions across the world.
Because you see, then the ultimate power did not lie with him.
When politicians are not happy against a particular decision that their government or the government they are serving in takes, they resign.
We heard about how many MPs asked for the removal of Ken Ofriatta, but none of them resigned.
So what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, that what I take from it is the morality of our principles. Today, we have a leader who says, I will do it, and he has done it. That should be the standard for all of us. That from today, we go by what we promise the people, we go by what we say on the campaign platforms. Not only a campaign platform, what we believe in. If we believe that this is wrong, we should not close our eyes to it. We should address it, we should talk about it, even when we are in government and the government is doing what is wrong. Because if we don't do that, we will not be able to sanitize the political space, and slowly people who are principled will walk out of it, and people who are unprincipled, people who don't have morals will be the ones who will take over the politics and finish this country.
Very well. Thank you.
There's something. Do you recall for the emission tax, there used to be luxury...
Yes, luxury vehicles.
Exactly. And amongst the luxury vehicles at the time was a septic, truck.
I think it was the model of it.
The model of
that
what?
qualifies it. So maybe the CC falls within a certain range.
No,
that
they
the
were
luxury
talking
vehicle
about
also fall within.
the luxury vehicles were, I think, were defined with the size, the size of liters also.
Yeah.
The engine
capacity,
capacity,
that's
that
easy.
was
Yeah.
used. But you know, again, it wasn't well thought through, because you can't call a septic truck a luxury vehicle.
There are some of them who are luxury. The ones that are used at programs and all those, they look very luxurious.
Maybe the ones that go to the other, what's the name of the place? It's Legon or something.
Larry.
No, but I'm
But
saying
a
that.
U-turn was made on that.
Yes, but it was after, I mean, the hue and cry, similar
But
to
fair, a number of U-turns were made on a number of issues.
Like
during the-
which one?
Like just this luxury tax that you've mentioned.
No, again, I'm
So
saying
why
that
didn't you
it
make U-turn on
Yes, on this
E-Levy?
one too. do you get it?
Yeah.
Because then both parties,
In fact,
the Lib-
E-Levy, the public resentment on E-Levy was much more higher than the luxury.
The luxury vehicle tax.
You understand?
But I'm saying that, I mean, it appears we are not thinking through a lot of the things, and it's not just limited to you know, the government that left. Maybe this one or the ones before the other one. We should think through some of these things. Let's listen to ourselves more and more, because at the end of the day, everybody pays. You as the MP, you will go to Parliament and say that, oh, you support it because you have been whipped to do it. However, your cousin...
In fact, we paid more than everybody.
Thank you.
Because the money transfers we do a day.
Yeah.
Members of Parliament. You have no idea.
You
Some of
get
us
it.
open a credit line
Oh, no, did you just
with
say?
the agency.
See, the truth is that ever since Momo became part of our lives, and our folks realized that Momo is part, they'll tell you, Fabitu Mame, why? And that's our nature.
Yeah.
And so if somebody asks you, 2 days ago, my classmate of mine, I mean from primary school, this classmate, I mean, we are now old, calls me, and then I look up and share. And they also did be too mommy.
Thank you.
No crack or baby for 2 months. But I mean, we are friends, so you have to do what is right. But like I said, it's good news. I wish government well.
Yeah.
It's too early for me to be criticizing government, because it is not right. If they do something which is wholly bad, that one I'll criticize them. But as a principle, needs talking morality and principle this morning. For me, I'm observing government for a while. I want government to be in honeymoon for a while, so that all the thing government is doing.
You don't want to be in
so when Intim is in parliament. If I were in parliament, there's a responsibility on me.
Right.
As if I were the ranking member.
You've been in parliament before.
Yes, there's a responsibility on me. I will have to act. So that one I can't hold in team back.
And he's not just a man, he's ranking on the committee.
But when the MPP flag bearer mentioned at the time that he was going to abolish it, what was he going to replace it with also? I'm saying this because now you have Sticker, that's Stephen Amoa, saying that, oh, he thinks that
thinks that
this
the
is going to
repeal is not good at this
exactly.
time.
And that, I mean, it shouldn't have been done. Now, I mean,
He was a
belonged
deputy minister when the presidential candidate
precisely.
said he was going to scrap it.
And he didn't make any comments against it.
So the same issue of morality I'm talking about.
So you see, that's why I don't like a conversation of bringing people and mentioning names. It's a group, an administration, and it's my administration I served under. That's what I said. We thought it will help us. We brought
That
it.
was a collective decision.
That was
then.
a collective decision. It has failed. Ultimate responsibility I bear. And so I'm part of it. At the end of the day, that's why I said I wish government well. I'm looking at how, because I know that being in government, there's something we call the wage bill. And it is not an easy task. This budget is now going to meet the wage bill, and it is starting from this month, because the vote on account has been spent, which ended with the last month. And I pray for government to be able to mobilize enough so that we'll see the social implementations, the things that needs to be done for our communities. That's what we want.
Yeah, but Honorable, you see, you are in a very difficult position, a position that I wouldn't want to be, where you belong to a government that passed it, and let's say, quote unquote, enjoyed it. Then you belong to a party that was led by a vice president who promised to repeal it when he comes to office. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, enjoyed will repeal. Now, had he repealed, what was he going to replace?
No, I'm sure they would have, just like
Larry,
the
you know, I can't be a
finance minister
consultant to knee in his government. And so we are trying to play a smart devil's advocate here. And I cannot suggest to you what my candidate would have done.
You leave that for the campaign.
That's what I said. Now I just have to zip up.
Yes.
And comfortably sit in your seat. I can't do that.
Oh, no, but you are a Ghanaian.
Mastika is saying that he should have been scrapped.
Exactly.
You see, that's why I said I don't want names to be mentioned here. He's expressing his opinion as a Ghanaian.
As an
the
individual.
Constitution gives him that right. More or less, he's a member of Parliament. And he's free to speak his
He
mind.
was a deputy minister of finance.
You see, he was a deputy minister, serving under a minister.
Minister then.
And you know the protocols. I don't need to go too far about it.
Right. Very well. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your comments and contributions. The show is very, very interactive. We'd like to hear from you. The WhatsApp number is 0204 447033. 0204 447033. Send us your thoughts, your comments, and contributions. This one says, good morning. I'm watching from Tema. My name is George. Good to know the E-Levy has been repealed and GRA has even ordered the immediate removal. Why is the MTN CEO also singing a different song that it can't be removed instantly without approval? I'm sure you must have listened to the MTN CEO speak on a different matter. We can give you an answer to this question, but hopefully there will be some explanations going forward. What we know is that the GRA, though, has ordered the immediate removal of the electronic transfer levy following President Mahama's assent to the bill. This is Breakfast Daily. I have the former lands local government minister and a former member of parliament for Dilante Van der Poy here with me. Larry Dogbe of the Herald newspaper is here. The Honorable Seth Champong, former regional minister for the Eastern region, also here. We'll take a quick break. When we come back. Yes.
yes.
Thanks for that.
He was clandestinely removed by Brian Champong.
Yes.
I didn't hear that.
You still come back.
Oh, it is my right to always serve my country once I have the energy. So if the time comes and there's that opportunity to go back to the chamber, it's a lovely chamber. You have to be in parliament and understand the work that parliamentarians do. And if you really want to grow with the country and help the country in that, why not? The experience we have, if I still have the energies, I have to go back, I'll go back. Very well, very well. We'll get back into it. There was mention of the Honorable Ntim Fojo. When we come back after this break, we'll look at the issues of alleged cocaine smuggling and money laundering. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Life is a celebration of moments. Big and small.
The sun is scorching, I'm feeling the heat.
With Piva Drink, every moment becomes a refreshing celebration. From the beach to your home, in every corner of your world, Piva Drink at a burst of refreshment.
Give me Piva cocktail and tangerine.
Celebrate every moment with Piva Drink. Refreshment for every occasion. Piva Drink, a taste you will love.
P for Piva.
This advert is FDA approved.
You're welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily here on ChannelOne Television. I have three fine gentlemen with me. I am learning so much from them, and the conversation is very rich. We just dealt with abolition or the repeal of the E-Levy, the emissions tax, and the betting tax. We're going into the conversation of alleged cocaine smuggling and money laundering in the country. The ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee...
Defense and Intelligence.
Defense and Intelligence. Defense and Interior.
No, Defense and Interior.
Defense and Interior. Are we changing it?
Yes.
No.
It's the new standing orders.
Yeah, the new standing orders has the Intelligence Committee.
Yes.
Yes,
Then Defense
but
and
he
Interior.
is Defense
They
and
still
Interior.
maintain defense and
Yeah, they
interior.
maintain
Yes.
Defense and Interior, and they created Intelligence.
Intelligence.
Oh,
Yes.
Ben,
Okay.
that's why. Oh, sorry.
So I mean, no, it's it's good that we get this, I mean, the explanation, so that we both learn. We all learn from it.
Because
so,
I thought we asked that it should be security and intelligence.
No. So
Defense
you remember
and-
when we were in the Southern Parliament when we
Yeah.
were working on this
Yeah.
particular
The new
standing
standing
orders? Those were the thinking.
Yes.
But when it had gone through a different parliament, I think some more work was done. And then they felt that they would mimic some other parliaments. So some other parliaments have intelligence committee standalone.
Alone.
So they also created an intelligence committee. So this intelligence committee has its leadership. Honorable Zaneto is the chairperson for the intelligence committee, and Brian Champon is the ranking. And then James Agalga is for defense and interior. And then Tim Fojo has been made a ranking member.
Right. So thanks for that correction. And so let's take with Defense and Interior, where the ranking member, the Honorable Tim Fojo, I think he's MP for Asen South. Asen South has raised issue regarding what he says suspicious activities of some 2 planes that landed in the country. But also in the news, we've heard of the bust of some substance alleged to be cocaine with a street value of about $350 million US dollars. His concern is the reputation this gives us as a country, and his demand is for some brief regarding this. However, what I am interested in is that, per the privilege of being on the Defense and Interior Committee, should he not be privy to the investigations going on by virtue of his position on that committee? And did he not have the opportunity to formally request for a briefing before going public with this issue, in order not to jeopardize the investigations? Because some of these investigations, whether we like it or not, are supposed to be behind closed doors. Honorable, I'll start with you.
Oh, well, first, let me say that you have to look at his designation. But he's Reverend Honorable Tim Fojo. And so, as a Reverend, he must always be circumspect with what he says because of the clerical collar he wears. If you and I, or Larry, or Seth should say it, nobody will really be. But then, as a Reverend minister, truth.
Me, I'm a very good product of a lot of Sunday schools. Okay,
I'm not sure what that qualifies you to become.
so no, but he couldn't say that. Well, I could lie and go away.
Because the Bible itself admonishes us to be truthful and to not to say things that will cause rancor in others. I listened to Tim Fojo.
Are you suggesting that what he said is not the truth?
I'm coming to that. I listened to Tim Fojo first on the issue of the ECG containers. And so, having respect for his clerical collar, I immediately sent him a message. And he responded after. You see, it goes back to what I said earlier. Sometimes we should be careful to have a clear distinction between when we're doing politics and when we are calling for a national discussion on sensitive national issues. If you serve as the ranking member for Defense and Interior, you must always be careful what you say, because you are privy to a lot of intelligence that ordinary Ghanaians will not have. So at every point in time, you must weigh between what is in the public interest, what is in the national interest, what will serve our national defense and security well. If you take, for example, the US, Many senators, many congressmen go to Israel, they go to Ukraine. But then when they come back, irrespective of their political leanings, they are careful what to say in order not to jeopardize U.S. relationship and U.S. interests in those jurisdictions. As a ranking member for Defense and Interior, you have all the right, you have all the power within your remit to even ask the Minister of Interior to brief the committee. You understand? So when you have exhausted all these opportunities and avenues you have, and you are still not convinced, even at that moment, you personally could also have one-on-one with a minister for the brief you are looking for before you decide to hold a press conference and make spurious allegations. You understand me? Today, it has led to the president calling on all the security agencies to work with him. I don't know whether he understands the phrase work with him.
Or he's to assist in the investigation.
Yes.
Yeah.
What it means is that from today, he's going to spend a lot of time with those people.
Yeah.
You understand? So he could have avoided all these by exhausting all the available opportunities he has as a member of parliament to be able to seek clarity to the issues that were bothering him. Let me say this. A raid has been made. If somebody want to cover it, it wouldn't have been made public in the first place. It's been made public. You demand answers. You want to know. Even Larry sitting as a journalist and you sitting here, it's not a death story, it's a running story. Because investigation has been done. Sometimes it's better to keep quiet because the people behind are still maybe chased. Or if they should come out, it will jeopardize the whole investigation. So sometimes you have to take your time. That doesn't mean you cannot, on the quiet, seek clarity to what work is being done on the issue. But to just come out and say, 2 weeks, nothing has been said. Is it the case that government want to change? Those are spurious allegations. You understand? Abhorrent allegations. Government, we don't want a situation where they will come tomorrow and tell us the monies were fake, or they will change the gold. And well, what are you implying?
Well, we've seen, regarding the issue of MV Benjamin, we were here and we were later told that the suspected cocaine is coconte powder.
That was when it has gone to court. You understand? The evidence have been brought to court.
Yeah.
And this is what they were saying. But this is not a situation where investigations have been concluded. And somebody says that we finished investigation and we are going to court. You understand? And I'm saying he is not just like any other Ghanaian. He is privy to a lot of intelligence. He is privy to the extent that you even said that 2 flights have landed in the country, and these flights have come from Canary Island, which is noted for drug trafficking. Please, somebody's country. You understand? So, international relations, international security, because these flights coming into our country and you saying that they came under a shady condition and there was no details, there's no flight that will come into our airspace that will not have clearance, that will not go onto a manifest. You understand? So if you claim that these flights came into the country unnoticed or without approval, then you are saying something else. You are putting our international airspace into serious question. That flights can come into our international airspace without any check. Then what happens to our international borders? What happens to the competence of our air traffic control people? What happens to the confidence of our Air Force?
Yeah.
And all these our security agencies, you are bringing their reputation and their competence to question. And so that's what I'm saying, that it was not for him to be speaking like an ordinary
Ghanaian
person, somebody on the street, somebody who is drunk, or somebody who has just come out of sleep and want to speak. But he was speaking as a ranking member. If you're a ranking member of a committee in parliament, you are like a shadow minister. Said, am I lying?
All right.
So,
but he's concerned.
No, I'm saying that your concern should be addressed within a very disciplined, germane environment.
We do not know if he had previously made attempts.
He didn't tell any of us.
Exactly.
He didn't tell any of us. And if he has made attempts, he will have made reference to those attempts he has made, knowing him. Knowing him.
Well, you do, I don't.
So you see, I'm saying that all the things he said, my worry in it is the fact that from my background in international security, Ghana's reputation, Ghana's image is very, very important in this. If you make it seem to the whole world that Ghana has become a hub for drug trafficking and that you can just fly into Ghana, and what you are actually doing is that you are creating a situation where our credibility as a country, our integrity, our international relations will all suffer. That's why he had to be measured in his expectation and his utterance in such a situation as a ranking member. But you see, he's developed a penchant for just doing more politics than being a legislator. Because members of the legislature are a different breed of politicians. You are not part of the executive, and you are not just member of a party. Once you enter that legislature, your chemistry must change.
But isn't this part of exercising the oversight responsibility?
That's why I'm saying that oversight responsibility is in so many forms. You have the committee, you have even question time in parliament, you have opportunity to seek. In fact, today, he could have even gone under the RTI.
Yeah.
You understand? So there are so many opportunities for him
Very well.
to get information he's looking for, the clarity he's looking for, than to have resorted to this, But you see, what I've seen about the MPP now, the minority now, is the fact that they are shoving for places. Everybody wants to be recognized. Yes. So one day, one press conference.
Oh, but there's no immediate appointment for them.
Oh, no. What I'm saying
Even
is
the
that
existing appointments, there are just about 4 slots left.
I've been through that before. When you're in opposition, your desire to always speak for you to be recognized is there.
Very well.
Because we live in a society today where people think that those who go on radio and television to speak are the most hard workers of a political party.
The most intelligent.
And the most intelligent of a political party.
Maybe that's why
I'm being frank with you.
Thank you.
I'm being frank with you.
Thank you.
So it's if Fojo want to portray that, oh, I'm so good, I'm so this, I'm so... No, but it's ending up really smearing himself, because today, when you follow Twitter or X and you listen to what people are saying about him as a person, I feel sad.
He's your friend. I'm sure you can call him.
Yeah. I sent him messages because you see, I grew up. I spent some of my time in Asin.
Oh, okay.
And in his constituency, I did a lot of work there when I was a national service person.
Right.
I was in charge of a CIU. So from Fantinya and Kumase, Asin Jakai to Biase, all this, Asin Kran. I did a lot of work there. And I loved Asin people because of the way they lived with me.
Yeah.
And so I've taken him as a younger brother, and I've been sending him messages on these things. But it looks to me, he's taken up by the frenzy. The drums which are being beaten in opposition is taking over him.
Thank you. Let me hear from Honorable Seth on this. and the fact that one, we have a reputation to keep, but then also we need to treat security matters as sensitive as they are.
Thank you very much. I think first and foremost, I have had opportunity to read the letter written to the chairman of the committee by the ranking member.
After the press conference.
When I read it, I thought he was trying to follow procedure, because in times past, when there are issues like that, I remember when I was a chairperson, the current chairman, James would walk to me and tell me that I think we need to bring these people to come in, offer us some explanation on ABC. So I believe he's following some procedure. I think the
Putting the
concern or is that we need to get to the bottom of this matter.
Indeed.
Ghana's reputation, as Nee said, is at stake, and it is not in anybody's interest. When your country is tagged in the red, irrespective of who you are, you should experience international travel to really appreciate your country being in the red. Any, forgive my language, Tom, Dick, and Harry can just accost you anyhow and care less about how to profile you. And so for some of us, it is proper that dignity of our country is kept right. The ranking member, yes, has that right to ask for the agencies and the sector leadership of government, i.e. the ministers, because the procedure is that the agencies cannot just appear before members in parliament. They have to come with their overarching boss, i.e. the leader of the sector, the minister, who reports on their behalf, and then offer some explanations. We must also, be cautious of some of these conversations. It is to the interest of our country so that we work it out well. Mind you, we did well by getting Ghana back into the Commission on Narcotic Drugs in the league just some years back, because we were out of that league. And we did some good work back in there with some legislations. And so when these things, should come up, it goes to, give credence to those who opposed those policies which we were pushing. And so for some of us, it's of great concern to us. We make sure the right things are done. But to what the ranking member wrote to, yes, I think it's time. The national security raid was done in February, and maybe for the budget which was coming, and they're looking forward to the budget, maybe the budget consumed that meeting of Parliament, so they couldn't meet. But out of the House now, once they have been given a budget, and they can work, because mind you, you cannot organize parliamentary meetings without a budget, and so they need to make sure they get it done. So that they need to be given enough information. Maybe he's not getting information as he expects to have. And let me tell you, this country, we always get backdoor information. So I'm sure the ranking member is being fed with some information, and he thinks it is inappropriate for him to go out to town with such information. And it is proper when they meet with the sector minister, who, mindfully, is a colleague in Parliament. Like Nee was saying, you can't just go against your colleague in Parliament anyhow. Then you are throwing away most of the protocols out there. And so, first and foremost, the Interior Minister, as we've been made to know by government, is the Minister in charge of national security. And so the national security raid, he's supposed to go and give briefing to us. Besides that, the Narcotics Control Commission, which is in charge of the frontier in respect of drug fight enforcement, is also under the Ministry of Interior. So that would also come in. But like Nee said, I think a few things we need to know. If those two as I have read about, air transports that came in country under AirMed, which was for evacuation of some medical personnel. We need to know who they took away from Ghana, and before those flights must come into Ghana, they must seek for landing rights, and they must go to the JRA for customs to also clear them, and then the Ghana Health Service to also clear them, and we should know who has been referred to go for those, or somebody chartered them. It could be because it's a transport, and they are to transport a passenger or evacuate some vaccines or some
medical supplies,
and not just only that. You know, today in the health industry, parts, human parts are also matters, organs. Yes, so you never know, and so these are matters that we have to, you know, get some information on. However, he is a representative of his people, so I don't know who has given him information, and he wants to, you know, verify and validate those information from the agencies and the sector minister. And I think it is in the rights of the committee. In our time, when we used to be in Parliament, we organized similar briefings, and we will bring the agencies to come and offer committee members, and that's what needs said. Privileged information to give to members, because they are the representatives of the people. The people must know. And most of the time, people forget that the security personnel who come to offer us information, they are commissioned officers. And once, until you are decommissioned, there are certain classified information you cannot give. And so those ones are matters they can, and even when they appear before us in Parliament, and the matter is under investigation, there are certain classified information they will not be able to give you, because it's operational. And until the investigative process is exhausted, you don't know who you are, you know, handing intelligence to go and do otherwise. So I think the call by the ranking member that we delve into the matters is very critical. Because we need to know which hospital referred a patient, or whoever called for them to come. So you have to go through the Ghana Airport Company, the Ghana Civil Aviation. All these bodies must offer some explanation, so we appreciate the conversation. And these are matters we don't need to joke with. I in particular am very serious about this matter, because I passed a law that granted Ghana, I mean, I led the passage of a law that got Ghana to do some work on cannabis, and it is something which was not only Ghana doing it, but a global conversation. And so if these things are not checked, we will go I'm not happy about it. We need to get it done right.
Well. Larry, I worry sometimes when we are quick to go to press with just a bust. Okay, because just like this dollars and gold bust that came out, we're only told that allegedly belongs to an Alhaji who is on the run. Who is this Alhaji? Has he been apprehended? But my sentiment is that why not, when you do the bust, wait, at least let the investigations travel to a point where you're able to pick up a number of the people. Because you see, when outrightly you come out and say there's a certain Alhaji, if I am that Alhaji, I will find my way out so that I am not picked up. I don't know what you, if you get what I'm saying and what you think of it.
Yeah, I think so. You see, very often, I think the media in this part of the world, we've become like conveyor belts. Okay. So you hear that, Honorable Van der Poel is about organizing a press conference, and we dash there. Honorable said this about holding a press conference, we go there. And then whatever the topic is, we don't even, I mean, we don't have any prior knowledge about it. So we walk into some of these things, and then, you know, they go on and on and on and on and on. And after that, they could even ask you, is there any question? And then there's no question.
There's no question. Yeah, because then, you might not have prior information.
But before you leave, make sure you you talk to my secretary, you know, down there. Do you get it? And that whatever they've said is what
we are reporting.
we are reporting. No any thorough probe
Exactly.
to see whether or not whatever they said was right
or wrong. Or if indeed that is the fact.
That is the fact. Okay. See the kind of flights that he mentioned. I'm sure if we go deeper in there, we would have noticed, the owners of this flight and what indeed they came to do here. Any serious minded journalist would have gone straight and written to them to say that, hey, your name
has popped up
here,
matter.
that you came on so and so date and left
for so and so days.
Exactly, and left. And they would have told you that, oh yes, indeed we are here.
Yeah.
But we came to evacuate, Asimesi or Obinting. And that would have, cleared a lot of these things. And this gentleman or this reverend who said this would have, had X in his face. You get it? But elsewhere, other jurisdictions, journalists are able to do this, even with a phone call.
Yeah.
Sometimes the argument here is that we don't have, that level of sophistication, or we don't have resources to do that. But I think we've gotten to that point where, ChannelOne could call this, people and say that, hey, you guys, so and so and
now
so.
Now it's a global village.
Exactly. To a point where, the Ghanaian president had gone on his Twitter, official Twitter or Facebook handle to say that, hey, we want key institutions like, the Narcotic Control Commission, CID to be involved, airport companies to be involved, and so on. It means it's a very critical thing that shouldn't be.
It's a serious matter.
So we would want you guys to tell us what you came to Ghana to do. Anything short of that, we are conveyor belts.
Yeah.
Having said so, I will talk about this reverend politician.
No, we are not discussing him as a person. We are discussing the issue.
But he's the one who brought the matter up.
So the matter he has raised.
So recently, last week or last 2 weeks, I've had calls to go on air to respond to certain things he had said about me personally. What did he say? We were reporting stories about some the bulletproof cars. Exactly.
You've done a thorough job on that, actually.
Oh, okay, thank you. So then, after a while, he goes on air to say that President Mahama had contracted me, Omani Buama had contracted me to do propaganda against the CDS and then all the service chiefs.
So you see why I didn't want us to go to him as a person, because now then we're going to a different matter.
I will tell you why. I will tell you why we need to focus on him, and you appreciate that. And so, earlier on, he had reached out to me.
Briefly on this matter, because we need to wrap up. We are running out of time.
He had reached out and said that he had written something about the retirement of the CDS and then some of the generals and so on, and that I should publish it for him. Well, and then we published it. He had asked for documents on this particular matter on the cars, the bulletproof cars. I told him that, listen, I have the document. However, you are a ranking member. You are in a position to access those documents from the state institutions involved. So go to them. At least you would have had my credibility tested by that. The gentleman didn't do that. The next thing I heard was him going on there and spewing those things about me. What I make of him in the last few, weeks or days that he had become a ranking member, it's somebody who is struggling to be noticed, who is struggling to establish himself politically. Because some of the things he says are sometimes very, 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 very outrageous without cross-checking his facts.
Wrap it up for me.
Before, putting people on the spot. There's something that I have seen. I think the Mahama we had years ago It's not the Mahama now.
The first John.
Yes, the first John. It's not the Mahama now. I think he's taking things, you know, very, very, very personal now. Years ago, he would have wished this thing away.
Yeah.
And don't assume that he didn't speak to the institution, the institutional heads.
Of course, he's the commander-in-chief.
Yes. Before coming to post that on social media.
Then would that suggest that indeed there is cause for worry?
That suggests to me that he knows the fact, and there's cause for worry when the reputation of the country is at stake.
And indeed, there's something amiss regarding the activities of these two.
It could be that, but it could also be that, listen, there's nothing at stake, and then the man is saying that, listen, let's have this gentleman go before these institutions and then have
Answer
this thing.
questions.
Exactly. And for me,
yes, who think that
so I'll side with this particular one where he's saying that it's supposed to serve as a deterrent to people who go out there to go and, you know, spew things that puts the reputation of the country, you know, at stake. I mean, last year we dealt with a similar situation where a NACOP lady was captured in videos aiding a Belgian national through the immigration, you know, whatever, at the Kotoka. The lady was interdicted. A deputy regional secretary of the MPP who works with the, you know, at the airport was also interdicted and investigated.
Right.
To date, nothing has been done as far as prosecution or putting these people before any investigative committee.
But, we'll have to leave it here. Unfortunately, gentlemen, we've run out of time.
But let me make this. I think
in just about 20 seconds.
My point is that it would be so unfortunate for me to sit on this panel. Larry, if you have an issue with the Honourable Member of Parliament, I think it is proper you take it up. And I don't believe it is every report you have made in your newspaper which have always been you've gotten it right. So I believe that it is not proper for us. Where we're heading is as if we're taking him to the cleaners. He's doing his job. And I pray that we should always have the shocks to accommodate some of these things. Other than that, if we can't tolerate... I'm not saying... I shouldn't say we shouldn't criticize him. But I don't want us to set him up around this table. He's not here with us to defend himself. You understand?
I just brought him back as a personal experience.
Thank you.
I just want us to...
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Honourable Nilante van der Poy, former local government minister, former member of parliament for the good people of Odododio. Honourable Seth Champo, former regional minister, Eastern Region, former member of parliament for the good people of Impriaso, and Larry Dogbe, editor of the Herald newspaper. I'm tempted to say future something, but
I'm sad we didn't talk about Galamsey.
We had wanted to. We had initially planned to. But unfortunately, I think we got carried away. We got carried away and we ran out of time.
I'm a Ghanaian.
There's a lot to be said. Of course, we should be concerned.
I'm concerned.
And especially from the Eastern region, there's a lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about it because he was a regional minister.
Exactly. Some other time we'll bring you here.
You bring it on.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Next, we have community focus here on Breakfast Daily. We'll be looking at the water situation in various parts of the country. Chris Carter will be here. Philip Nilate will be here, and they will be bringing you community focus. Thank you.